We have just witnessed one of the greatest Final Four performances from Mr. Walter Clayton Jr. and the Gators. They're chomping their way into the national championship game, Blake. The Auburn Tigers season has come to an end. The number one overall seed going down 79-73 against Todd Golden in Florida. An instant classic between these two one seeds. The first half of the Final Four games, it delivered, Blake. We'd talk about how this tournament had really been kind of underwhelming a little bit in some regards, but man, that first game really made up for it. We're about to see Duke and Houston, but gosh, Florida, they looked like a team that could not be stopped tonight, specifically Walter Clayton Jr.
I know that was unbelievable to watch tonight. Florida just looks so dominant in all aspects of the game. Uh, their toughness down the stretch, their intensity, and just shot making too. Like they literally were doing everything you can ask for out of a basketball team. And if they continue building on this performance going into the national championship against to be determined between Duke and Houston, then I think it's not crazy to say they're going to be crowned the champion when it's all said and done after the Natty on Monday.
Yeah, I mean, if Walter Clayton's putting up 34 like he did tonight, 5 made threes, it's hard to see anybody stopping him. He was the savior all night long for Florida. Elijah Martin, he had a really great game as well with 17. And Thomas Howe, he made some really underrated plays on the defensive end, and he was able to get some shots up too. He was really key in that victory. But a thing that really stood out to me, Blake, was just the fact that in the second half, the first half, it really was like the Janai Broom show. It looked like the best version of Janai Broom. He was getting what he wanted. He was manhandling Alex Condon and Ruben Chinyelu, to be quite frank. But in the second half, I mean, he just didn't really look anything like the first half version of himself. And I think that was really critical to Florida getting the victory there, because Auburn really struggled to get some looks from outside with their guys just being absolutely swarmed on defense. And Tahad Pettiford picking up 3 early fouls as well. He wasn't able to play a ton in the second half. I think that's really where things went wrong tonight if you're an Auburn fan.
Yeah, for sure. And they weren't hitting their threes, which, I mean, all season long, I feel like that's been one of their biggest keys in being as good as they've been as a team. And also, Janai Broom, if he's not, like, red hot from the field, that team kind of bases, like, centers their offense around Janai. And then once the defenders crash down on him, it allows for open shots. And we didn't really see that. I felt like a ton in that second half. Florida was just manhandling Auburn. I felt like Florida was kind of playing a little timid there in the final minute and a half. Kind of got a little scary there. I thought Auburn was about to make a crazy comeback there, but yeah, I definitely think that this Florida team's special. And I also think we need to stamp Walter Clayton. Like, we need to stamp his nickname as Cardiac Clayton, because what we saw tonight, that was cold-blooded, dude.
Shades of Kemba from all the way back in 2011. Man, I am so proud of that dude, given that I was hyping them up in the preseason, and they are now sitting in the national championship game just for my personal agendas on this podcast. But, man, he's so fun to watch. And if you're an Auburn fan, I mean, this really stinks for it to be the ending, because this was such a great team all season long. And I was just kind of thinking about this as time was winding down, Blake, but it feels like I said it in our text messages, there's some teams that were really great that came up short. Most notably, I think a team that I'm wearing on my chest right now, 2015 Kentucky. And it kind of feels like for Auburn, this kind of might be their equivalent. I mentioned that Bruce Pearl, he was sitting this year with probably the most pressure of all these coaches in the Final Four to get it done, because I don't know if he's going to have a team that's as well-rounded as this one again. And I think that this loss, it's probably going to overshadow what has been a great season for them, and it's probably going to haunt the Auburn faithful for a long time.
Oh, yeah, it definitely is going to haunt them, because when you're looking at, like, Ken Palm, they had some numbers that really hadn't been seen in, 25-plus years.
Yeah.
Like, this team was special, and for it to end like this, it's definitely not pleasing if you're a Tigers fan. Bruce, he recruited the team. Like, spot on. Like, he got the guys he needed. Chad Baker-Mazara coming to Auburn last year was a huge piece for this season. Janai Broom being a Tiger. I mean, obviously, he'll probably end up getting his jersey hung up, even though he was only there for, like, what, a year or so?
Yeah, 2 years, I think. Yeah.
2 years, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And Miles Kelly, getting him a couple years ago, big time. Denver Jones was a really good piece. I mean, the list goes on and on. Dylan Cardwell as well. He was there for 5 years. And I mean, his numbers might not pop out to you, but he had a really good game today. Had a couple nice dunks too. So you're going to be losing a lot of talent this year, and I don't know. It's just tough to see Pearl being able to replicate something as special as this Auburn team really was this season.
Yeah, it's just kind of, all the pieces really aligned this year, and you just wonder if you're going to get that perfect storm again. Like you got,
Yeah.
like you said, Janai, you had a program guy like Cardwell who had been there for a while, Chad, Baker-Mazara.
Mm-hmm.
He can come back, but I mean, yeah, I don't know at this point. He's really very old for college basketball standards if he wants to give it a go again. Todd Pettiford being as dynamic as he was as a freshman, we'll see what happens with his future. But on the flip side, I mean, Todd Golden, he was a disciple of Bruce Pearl's. He was on his staff at the early days at Auburn, and now he's going to the national championship, and this is just his third year of coaching Florida. I mean, if
Yeah.
you're a Gators fan, you got to be ecstatic about the future of this program right now. I know, obviously, you got one more game here that you want to go try and win on Monday night, but even if they aren't able to pull it off, I think that my stock in this Florida program being back to national prominence is really at an all-time
Has to
high
go.
right now.
Yeah, it has to be going through the roof. This guy is a genius. In just his third year, he got guys like who were super under recruited in high school. Alex Condon was an unknown Australian kid. Walter Clayton was in like the 250 range. Thomas Howe, I think, is the same thing. Uh, I mean, the list goes on and on. Denzel Aberdeen was like a low 4, I think a high 3-star. Like, I don't think he was super highly recruited out of high school.
Mm-hmm.
Thomas Howe, I think I mentioned him already, low recruit. Uh, Elijah Martin, I think he was unranked in high school. So, I mean, the list keeps going on and on and on. Like, the fact that he got guys that were this under recruited, not really like names that are like, oh wow, they're like studs on the court. He just got what fits his system, and what his system is toughness, grittiness, and intensity. Is I think how he explained it,
Mm-hmm.
and guys that want to be there. So, I mean, he did the job he needed to do, and just his third year too, taking this crew to the Natty is surreal, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and I mean, it speaks to the coach that he is, where you just look at this game specifically at halftime being down 8. I mean, they come right out of the gates with an 11-0 run with just a few minutes in. And from then on, it really felt like they had just taken over control of that game. They found a way to just make Janai really not as much of a factor in the paint as he was in the first
Yeah.
half. And like I alluded to earlier, that's kind of where you saw the game get lost, in my opinion. And then the guards, I mean, Denver Jones, Miles Kelly, they weren't getting the looks that they really like to see.
No,
Denver Jones
Miles
going one.
struggled.
Yeah, Miles was 3 for 10 on the day, 2 for 7 from three, and
And that
Denver
shot in the
Jones.
corner, like what?
Oh yeah,
What do you think about that? I thought it was a really stupid shot. Like, you're in crunch
super,
time,
yeah,
you needed a
super ill
2.
advised. Yeah,
Like, yeah,
I don't think that was the shot right there. I think they kind of panicked. And Denver Jones, like I said, 3 for 9. Todd Pettiford, he just could never find a groove in this game when he racked up
yeah,
foul trouble, and he went 0 for 4 from 3 on the night, which really sucks for a guy that I like to see play personally. He's an electric freshman talent. He gives me shades of kind of like a lefty version of Rob Dillingham, that maybe not as quick twitch or quick to break down a man, but he's electric. And I just think that the guard play is really what this came down to. And I talked about on the preview that I did by myself, Denver Jones was going to have to step up to the assignment of Walter Clayton Jr. And I hate to be harsh on the
boy,
kid,
were
but
you
it failed.
wrong.
That is a giant F. And I picked Auburn to win this game because I was thinking, Florida, they had some little rough patches throughout the opening rounds of the
Mm-hmm.
tournament where they didn't look as effective, where Auburn, they kind of put things back into gear, that team that we saw them as before they went on their losing skid. But gosh, I mean, Florida just took their soul tonight. That loss, if I'm an Auburn fan, I'm going to be thinking about that one in my sleep for a long time. And if any of you Auburn fans out there, Brandy specifically, if you need anyone to talk to, I know all about recovering from traumatic tournament losses as a Kentucky fan. So, Blake, you got any final thoughts on this Auburn season that's come to an abrupt end, or Florida? I know we've been giving them a lot of praise.
I mean, I don't really have anything too philosophical to say. I mean, Florida, they beat Auburn twice this season. I think if you're an Auburn fan, that itself is probably super disappointing. And to lose the second time in the Final Four is even more heart wrenching. So yeah, it's kind of crazy to see Florida in the national championship, because I'm not going to lie to you, I know you saw a lot of potential in them preseason, but I honestly had no idea they were going to be this good. The
Yeah,
team
nah.
just gelled together like freaking sticky glue or something. They got guys like Chinniwoo, uh, Thomas Howe, Alex Condon. Like, these guys honestly came out of nowhere. That front court, I never would have thought they were going to be that good. So props
Yeah.
to Todd Golden, Hartman. He's an assistant there, and the rest of the staff. They've done a heck of a job this season, and I I think the only way is up moving forward, because like they got a great staff right now if they can uh, keep them in Florida. So
Mm-hmm.
impressive
Yeah.
job by that staff for sure.
And I mean, they haven't lost now since February 25th against Georgia, which
That's
is
unreal.
that's unreal. They have not lost since we're going on almost 2 months now. They have really been the hottest team in the country besides Duke. I would imagine we're gonna go see what happens with that game against Houston here in a little bit, and we'll have our national championship preview out later. But man, Florida, what a game for Walter Clayton Jr. What a all around performance by that group to come back from a halftime hole, find a way to win, and shut down Janai Broome, who's been one of the best college basketball players we've seen in recent memory these last couple of years. I hate that the lasting memory for him is probably going to be this defeat, because it's a super
Yeah,
talented guy. He had a great career coming from Morehead State all the way to Auburn, becoming the SEC Player of the Year and doing the things that he did for that program. And it's just tough to see him go out. And one thing I forgot to mention about the game itself, too, with Janai, with 2 minutes to go, Florida had that 3-point lead, and Janai went to the line. He missed both free throws, and I think right there, Blake, I kind of knew, this just may not be their night, because
yeah,
that could have been a huge momentum swing for them, and I hate that Janai's going to have to go out with that lingering in his mind.
yeah,
It's
for
a
sure.
tough look all around. But hey, Florida, they've earned their spot in the national title game. Haven't lost since February, like we said. It's going to be hard for me to pick against them, no matter who comes out of this Duke Houston game. But we're going to get to that game right now. I think it should be tipping off, or it may have already tipped off while we were recording this little instant reaction. But Blake Smith, thank you for joining me. This is the
Yes,
Full
sir.
Court Trap Podcast. Signing out. Let's go see who's going to be playing against Florida in the Natty.